His name was Samuel, and his story began in a place where dreams were often forgotten. He grew up in a tiny, weathered house with walls so thin you could hear the wind whisper its secrets right through them. The floorboards creaked with every step, telling tales of the many feet that had walked on them with heavy hearts. His family had very little money. Some days a single bowl of soup was shared among them all, each spoonful a precious treasure. Samuel wore clothes that were patched and repatched, carrying the history of his older siblings. He knew the feeling of an empty stomach and the chill of a winter night without enough blankets. But even in the cold, something warm was growing inside of him. He would often sit by his single smudged window, looking out at the world beyond his small street. He watched the cars drive by, wondering where they were going. He saw the tall buildings in the distance, like giants touching the sky. In his heart, a tiny seed of a dream began to sprout. It was a simple yet powerful dream. He wanted to build something big, something that would last. He didn't just want to escape his poverty. He wanted to create a world where no one had to feel the way he did. He promised himself that one day, he would have enough to help not just his family, but many others too. This promise was a secret he kept close to his heart. This dream was his most valuable possession. It cost nothing, yet it was worth everything. While other children played games in the street, Samuel would collect discarded scraps of wood and metal. He would try to build small things, a wobbly chair, a little cart, a birdhouse. Most of his creations fell apart, but he didn't mind. Each failure was a lesson. He learned how one piece of wood connected to another. He learned which nails held strong and which ones bent. His hands were often covered in splinters and dirt, but his eyes shone with a special kind of light. He was learning the language of creation, one broken piece at a time. His mother, a woman with tired eyes but a strong spirit, would watch him. She didn't always understand his obsession with building things from scraps, but she saw the focus in his eyes. She saw the determination in his small, dusty hands. One evening, she sat beside him and said, "Samuel, whatever you build in this life, make sure you build it with a good heart. A strong foundation is not just made of wood or stone, it is made of kindness and honesty." Those words settled deep within him. They became the blueprint for the incredible life he was destined to build, a foundation that would prove to be stronger than any steel. As a young man, Samuel left his small town with nothing but his dream and a few dollars folded carefully in his pocket. The big city was both amazing and terrifying. The buildings were even taller than he had imagined, and the noise of the traffic was a constant roar. He found a job working on a construction site. The work was hard. His muscles ached every single day. He carried heavy loads of bricks and mixed cement under the hot sun. He was just one of many workers, all trying to make a living. But for Samuel, this was not just a job. It was his university. He watched everything. He listened to everyone. He paid close attention to the architects and the engineers. He saw how they read the complicated blueprints. He learned how a building started as a simple drawing, and slowly, piece by piece, grew into a magnificent structure. During his lunch breaks, while others rested, Samuel would ask questions. Some of the older workers laughed at him. They called him the dreamer, but one foreman, a kind man named Mr. Henderson, saw the fire in Samuel's eyes. He saw a hunger to learn that reminded him of his younger self. He started explaining things to Samuel, showing him how the plans worked and why every single measurement had to be perfect. With the small amount of money he saved, Samuel started his own tiny business. He began with small repair jobs. He fixed broken fences, repaired leaking roofs, and built small garden sheds for his neighbors. His first few attempts were filled with mistakes. One roof he repaired still leaked, and he had to go back and fix it for free. A fence he built was a little crooked. Each mistake was a painful sting to his pride and his wallet. There were nights he felt like a complete failure. He would sit in his small rented room, surrounded by bills he couldn't pay, and doubt would creep into his mind like a cold fog. But he never, ever gave up. For every mistake, he found a solution. He learned to double-check his work. He read books about carpentry and construction late into the night. He learned to measure twice and cut once, a lesson that applied to more than just wood. His reputation for being honest grew slowly. If he made a mistake, he always fixed it. He treated every small job as if it were the most important project in the world. People began to trust him. His small repair business started to grow, one happy customer at a time. He wasn't building skyscrapers yet, but he was building something just as important, a foundation of trust. Samuel's small company was finally growing. He had hired a few employees and was taking on bigger projects, like renovating kitchens and building home extensions. He poured every ounce of his energy and every penny he had back into the business. He was closer to his dream than ever before, and he could feel the excitement bubble inside him. He decided to take a huge risk. He borrowed a large sum of money to buy a piece of land. He had a vision to build a small community of affordable, beautiful homes. This was his chance to finally build something meaningful, something that would help people just like his own family. It was the biggest gamble of his life. Then, the world changed overnight. A sudden economic crisis hit the country. People lost their jobs, and money became tight for everyone. The housing market collapsed almost instantly. No one was buying houses. No one was spending money on renovations. Samuel's dream project came to a screeching halt. The land he had bought was now worthless. The bank wanted its money back, and he had none to give. His phone stopped ringing with job offers. Instead, it rang with calls from angry creditors. He had to let his employees go, which was one of the hardest things he ever had to do. He was facing bankruptcy. He had lost everything. This was his darkest hour. All the years of hard work, all the sacrifices had turned to dust. He felt a sense of shame so deep it was a physical pain. He avoided his friends and family, not wanting them to see how badly he had failed. He would walk for hours through the city streets at night, feeling completely alone and invisible. The dream that had once burned so brightly inside him was now just a faint ember, close to being extinguished forever. He thought about giving up, about going back to his old town and forgetting he ever had a dream at all. The weight of his failure was crushing him. One night, sitting in his empty office, he looked at his hands. They were still the hands of a builder, calloused and strong. He remembered his mother's words, "Build it with a good heart." He had lost his money, but had he lost his heart? He remembered Mr. Henderson, the foreman who had believed in him. He remembered the families whose homes he had repaired, and the smiles on their faces. He realized that failure was not the end. It was just another lesson, perhaps the hardest one yet. He stood up, took a deep breath, and made a new promise to himself. He would not be beaten. He would start again, from the very bottom if he had to. Samuel didn't start by looking for more money. He started by looking for help. He swallowed his pride and called the few friends he had made in the industry. He didn't ask for a handout. He asked for advice. He met with Mr. Henderson, who was now retired. The old foreman listened patiently as Samuel explained his failures. Mr. Henderson smiled and said, "Samuel, the market didn't break you. It just taught you a lesson about timing and risk. You have a good name. That's worth more than any land." His old friends connected him with new people, investors who were looking for hard-working, honest partners, not just flashy ideas. They saw his past failure not as a weakness, but as a sign of his resilience. He learned to listen more. He learned to build teams with people who were smarter than him in different areas. He partnered with a brilliant financial expert who understood the economy, and a creative architect who shared his vision for beautiful, affordable housing. He was no longer a lone dreamer trying to do everything himself. He was the leader of a team, the heart of a shared vision. His new company started small again, but this time it was built on a much stronger foundation: shared knowledge, mutual respect, and a clear understanding of the risks. They didn't just build buildings, they built smart, sustainable communities. The years passed, and Samuel's company grew beyond his wildest dreams. They built entire neighborhoods, office towers that reshaped skylines, and public parks that brought joy to thousands. He never forgot where he came from. A large part of his company's mission was to build high-quality, low-cost housing for families in need. He started a foundation that provided scholarships for students from poor backgrounds who wanted to study engineering and architecture. He was not just building with wood and steel anymore, he was building futures. He was giving thousands of young people the chance that he never had. Today, on this day, August 8, 2025, Samuel is a billionaire. But the number in his bank account is not what defines him. His true wealth is in the communities he has built, the lives he has changed, and the hope he has inspired. His story is a powerful reminder to us all. It shows that it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is that you keep the seed of your dream alive in your heart. You must get up one more time, then you are knocked down. Samuel's journey from rags to riches is not just a story about money. It is a story about the unbreakable power of the human spirit.